So we want to create the world anyone, including any generation, any genders, any culture differences, any physical conditions, can enjoy making use of technology and the services. So hello everyone, this is Ao from R4D. This video is continuous video from the previous one, where we talk about what is HCI research. So today I and Bektour also talk about the continuous HCI topic.
And this is Bektour, and today we're going to talk about the state-of-the-art HCI research, as well as some of the work that we're doing here at R4D. Yeah, so the state-of-the-art research is actually something that we constantly have to keep an eye on, because we of course should know what is happening in our field of research, and we should also kind of have an understanding where to go next, what would be interesting within the next 5 to 10 years, so that we could kind of be ahead of the curve and look into the future. We're interested in multiple topics, not only in human-computer interaction. We're looking into other areas of research, including artificial intelligence, of course, computer graphics, and other interactive technologies. For instance, right now we're exploring such topics as augmented human, where we're looking into how the quality of life experience could be improved by introducing different interfaces and external technologies that could, for instance, help you to see better, hear better, or navigate around the places better. We're also very interested in different 3D technologies, including augmented virtual reality. For instance, not only in, for example, scanning the area, but also in such questions as how can we interact with different objects, different smart agents by using, for instance, mixed media interfaces. Yes, basically there's a lot of different topics and ideas that we're really excited about. Of course, we cannot use all of them in our research, but we're still trying to keep an eye on all of them, because so we believe that the things that we're seeing right now, for instance, at the conferences presented as a state-of-the-art research, would reappear in basically in our houses, on our phones, on our TV screens, etc., within the next 5 years. So our question is, what is it going to be, and how we can get there earlier than everybody else?
So in the HCI research, especially we focusing on inclusive design and accessibility. So let me quickly explain about the inclusive design. So accessibility, I think everybody recognizes about that. But the inclusive design is so when we design and develop the services or product or whatever, we need to include extreme users, such as senior users, or some users might be visual impairment. The visual impairment means not only permanent, like sometimes we lost the vision temporarily, so including all of the situation. So we would like to work on this inclusive design accessibility area to cooperate with the various stakeholders, including the companies or the certain extreme users, and we would like to develop inclusive and accessible e-commerce service from the Mercari. So shall we talk about the accessibility in the inclusive design in e-commerce shopping experience?
Yes, this is something that we've been looking into throughout the past year. Actually, this is a kind of, as we mentioned before, it's kind of an emerging topic in I guess in accessibility research and human-computer interaction research. Of course, accessible web has been around for a while, but e-commerce shopping is a relatively new thing as it's becoming more widespread. And of course, in case of Mercari, we're talking about customer-to-customer shopping, which is often referred to as C2C. And this is, to our knowledge, even less researched. So, partially because it's a relatively new concept, and perhaps partially because maybe until now there was not enough user base for it to kind of receive a demand for this kind of research. And this is the topic that we've been actively looking into. We've been trying to understand how people are using our application, what are their needs, what kind of problems they can experience, and how we can solve them.
And I think especially e-commerce shopping experience. When users decide a certain item, they really want to get the detailed information about the item. And I think the current some web page only provide visual information, so it might not be accessible for some the users. And sometimes users want to know about what kind of detailed color the cloth is, or what kind of size, or so. We also interested in to providing the kind of information from not only on-screen information, like for example, we are exploring the voice UI to give a feedback of the kind of item information via the text-to-speech or speech-to-text or that kind of.
Yeah, so text-to-speech and actually no UI interfaces is something that we've been actively looking into. This is something that we call multimodal interfaces, or interfaces that allow you to have multiple modes of interaction or multiple modes of accessing the content. And from the perspective of inclusive design, by pairing it with different immersive forms of interaction with the content, we could receive interesting results. For instance, by allowing a user to interact with the content by using their voice, you could have a more natural form of interaction or communication with the content. And it is something that we're interested in because, first of all, from the perspective of inclusive design, it allows you to, for instance, overcome different temporary or different types of disabilities. For instance, you could, in case with a temporary disability, when you cannot, for example, look at the screen, but you need to look for an item, you can use your voice interface. Or if for some other reason you cannot engage with the content in the way that we initially intended, such as, for instance, using a text or images, you could use alternative forms of interaction to achieve the same goal. We also found out a lot of different interesting issues. For instance, people want to find information faster, obviously, and they want to not have an information overload every time they're shopping for an item. So providing these different forms of, I guess, interacting and consuming the content allows to have a better, a smoother experience that does not only help users with certain, for example, disabilities, but also would help other users in achieving their goals.
And I think the interesting point on C2C marketplace is every item has a different quality. Every item is the unique item on the world. So sometimes people are interested in to knowing about the story of the item. So what kind of the people are using the item before, or why they want to release this time. So we also interested in the user interface to how to provide that kind of story of items in the C2C marketplace. So we want to create the world anyone, including any generation, any genders, any culture differences, any physical conditions can enjoy making use of technology and the services. So from that perspective, we are working on inclusive design and accessibility research to making use of emerging technology in HCI field to empower individuals on C2C platform. So firstly, we would like to talk about the current international community on HCI research fields. So could you introduce several communities in this area?
Yeah, so in academic research, an international community is actually very important because of the different collaboration opportunities that arise from it, as well as because of the diversity that you can get from collaborating with different authors from different areas of research, or also different geographical areas, and so on and so forth. Their major conference, CHI, is actually happening in Japan. Well, because of the COVID-19, it's happening online, but technically it's supposed to be happening in Japan, in Yokohama this year in May. At this conference, actually there are many ways you can engage this academic community. For instance, right now we as R4D are hosting several workshops. One is on inclusive design and immersive media, and the other one we're hosting a special interest group meeting on media art and AI art. Aside from that, there are a lot of other different, definitely a Kai community within IPSJ, and also there are definitely Kai communities within, for instance, IEEE. For instance, there's also a famous conference such as SIG Access, the Special Interest Group on accessibility, and so on and so forth. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity for you to engage with the wider community and perhaps find new collaborators and new topics to work on.
Yeah, I also very recommend to join the discussion of the SIG, which means the Special Interesting Group. So most of international conference has the kind of the more this small group. Each researchers can focus in on discussion the specific topic. So I very recommend it to join the kind of the community. And also so not only the Asia Pacific, the Japan community has the, for example, paper reading session maybe once or twice a year in the community. So yeah, not on the international community, I very recommend to join the regional and the local communities. So lastly, let me introduce the research workshop where HCI team also contributed to organizing.
So at CHI 2021, the premier conference on human-computer interaction that is happening in Japan and also online, we're hosting a workshop on immersive inclusive design, and by this we mean that we're interested both in questions of inclusive design and accessibility, but also in how immersive technologies such as augmented virtual reality can actually help us in solving this certain issues that arise from it. So for instance, by using an AR interface to help you see or hear better, and so on and so forth. So in this workshop, it's a 4-hour online workshop. It's more of a discussion group where we want people to engage with the content, meet with each other, and exchange ideas. We'll have a lot of interesting researchers and interesting projects that are going to be discussed in the workshop. So you can participate in it by sending us a paper. So to participate in a workshop, you need to submit 1 or 2 page position paper. But you can look at the submission requirements at our website. We will also be posting more information about the workshop later, so please feel free to check out the links that will be posted below this video. And also, yes, we are looking forward to seeing you at CHI 2021. Thank you.
So today it was Ao and the Bektour from HCI team at Al4D. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Thank you. If you want to see more of our content, please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and please come back for more content. Thank you.